All right, Ray, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. The meeting of the West Warwick Board of Canvassers for July 13th, 2022 at 3 p.m. is hereby called to order. Members present are Chairperson Ray Lambert, Vice Chairperson Nancy LeBlanc, Member JP Millette, Alternate Member Nancy Parenti, and Alternate Member Paul Richards. Before we get into the business, I'd like to formally introduce our new clerk, Colleen Crowley. Many of you have met her already. She comes highly recommended. You want to tell us a little bit, about, Woonsocket and Johnston? I want to hear about Johnston because you think West Warwick's bad.
Well, yeah, I've been around. I've seen it all. So I'm going into almost 20 years of experience in elections and Board of Canvassers. In Johnston, I lost my job because they wanted to make it a one-person office because it's a small town. And the person that trained me had been there 20-something years. I was only going on my 10th year. So then I went to Woonsocket and now I'm here. Between the price of gas and all the hours that I worked and all I decided this would be a smart move since I live 10 minutes away.
Say, where you live in Cranston?
I live in Cranston, yeah.
Did you bail out? I thought Sarah had told me last election, you had to bail out somebody because they.
I did. In 2018, I was serving a different role. I was the collection specialist for the city of Woonsocket. So I had been out of elections for a while because I took a promotion. And then in 2018, the clerk decided because of the pandemic that she was going to quit. She was scared, she was nervous, and it was 2 weeks before the election. Maybe 3 weeks. So the mayor said, you have election experience. I need you up there right now. So I kind of fell back into it during the pandemic and got us through that. And that was scary, ordering all the protective glass and saying like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Learning the new laws, all the changes that have been made because I hadn't done it in a while. But I realized how much I miss it. So that's why I wanted to come here when I saw this opening.
I hope you don't miss after you see West Warwick because
We're glad to have you.
Oh, yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Wish you a lot of luck. Yeah.
Thank
I wish you luck and I'm sure you're going to be a great Board of Canvassers clerk.
Actually, it's not a bad place to work.
It's not, it's a great
No,
place
no,
to
the
work. I'm already
politics.
finding that and I'm
Oh, I
almost
know.
2 months in and I'm finding that I'm really enjoying it and I'm glad as I went back, as I covered the elections for Woonsocket and then it was over and they had hired someone. And then I went back to, being the collection specialist for the city, but then I realized how much I love elections. So I wanted to get back into it. And this was my perfect in with Sarah.
All right,
It
what I
couldn't
meant,
be
I wasn't
better.
casting any aspersions on West Warwick. It's the politics. Like,
It's everywhere.
she knows.
Yeah, it's everywhere. I already know the players.
Yes, but
It's the same game everywhere. You just gotta learn the players in your new city or town.
it's the same everywhere except
Yeah.
Richmond.
No, it's the same there too.
Okay, we're glad to have you
Thank you.
and it'll be a pleasure working with you.
You as well.
All right, the next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the May 20, 2022 Board of Canvass meeting. Does everybody have a copy? Everybody read it? Okay, any additions, deletions, corrections, modifications, anything?
I didn't see anything.
All right, I'll entertain a motion that we accept them as presented.
I'll move that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. Number 4, approval of polling locations for the September 13th, 2022 primary. And I'll turn it over to our regular clerk to give us whatever she has there.
Well, if you guys want to officially on the record, say what your pleasure is for the election. that would-
Oh, okay.
I think I have an idea, but I think that if you guys want to officially,
Before I speak, Madam Vice Chair, your preference?
On this topic, yes, I think that opening 10 polling places, I know that's what the state wants.
all
It
right,
just seems like such a waste of money for the town. I would think that one in each ward should be fine. But I know that since we did change some of the wards, that it might be easier for them to get used to that. to the new place by having the 10 places, but I just think it's a waste of money for the town. There isn't really much in the way of primaries for town offices. It's
And
just
not
the
that many
state.
people come out to vote either.
And if we do have to open up the 10 places, maybe we could limit the number of supervisors in each place. That's my take on it.
JP?
I agree.
I do too. I don't believe that we need 5 polling places. That would be,
10 votes.
Yeah, 10.
yeah, 10 polling places, because that would mean 10 moderators, 10 clerks, 40 supervisors. That's 60
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
That's a lot of people.
And yeah, it's a lot of people to get, especially that's summertime, September 13th. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be hard.
And you got to keep in mind that, you know, elections, the way we know it has changed. We're now going to have the 20 days of early voting going into those elections. So
Precisely.
your residents or voters are going to have more of an opportunity to cast their ballot than just at the polling locations. I think we're going to
Excellent
see
point.
the foot traffic at the polling locations decrease. I was really hopeful that this year in the General Assembly, they'd put forth legislation to increase the cap on the voting places. I don't know if you guys followed that. They initially had proposed 4,000 voters per polling location. Then they compromised and went down to 3,500. The law currently states 3,000 voters per polling location, no more than 3,000 voters. Unfortunately, it failed. It did not pass this year. I'm hoping that they'll put it again for next year because, I mean, elections has just changed. It has. I mean, people are really enjoying the opportunity to vote by mail and how that's expanded. In order to vote by mail, previously you had to have a reason. Now you don't. To vote early, you don't have to have a reason to anymore. On the Board of Elections side of things, I do see their point. We did just redistrict and it did affect some of our residents. And we did just send a mass mailing to every registered voter in the town, telling them where their polling location is. From my personal opinion, I mean, obviously, I always enjoy having less polling locations. I enjoy having a presence at our polling locations, and it's really hard to do the more you have. So I think that maybe if we propose to the Board of Elections, reducing, like you suggested, to the 5, 1 per each ward, as long as that works with our state rep lines as well. I think that the biggest thing is we're going to need to have clear signage at whatever polling location we do close, telling those voters, like for instance, if we in Ward 4, I had used the example before, if we took, that's Maisie Quinn and St. Mary's, if we did all the voting at Maisie Quinn to post at St. Mary's, all voting today is going to be held for this ward at Maisie Quinn, maybe something even that says in the general election, this will be your polling location or something along those lines on the door. So that way people are seeing and they know that this is their polling location. However, for today, they're going there, maybe put something in the paper that states the same.
That's a good point.
I mean, it is expensive, but I think that if we are saving the money on the poll workers, that we should spend the money there.
Also, some of the polling places we pay, right? The
We
schools
do
we
pay.
don't.
The schools we do not, and the Board of Elections did recommend that if we, and again, the Board of Elections can deny us and tell us we have to open up all 10, so we need to be prepared for that too. But the Board of Elections did recommend that we, if we are to close one in a ward and it's a school and it's a church or whatever, a community
Use the
room,
school.
school, because the school is closed for election purposes, so that would give us complete access. And I agree with that. You know, the parking is always going to be better if nothing else is going on there besides that. But anyway, so that's my feedback on it. I think you know, if it's the pleasure of the board, we send a letter to the Board of Elections saying this is what we would like.
Excuse me.
Yep.
This is what we would like, and we wait for their feedback.
Could you also note to them that we had a very heavy PPP, presidential preference primary? I don't know how many Democrats, I think you were the moderator, how many Democrats were on that ballot?
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk, because he says in his email to Colleen, oh, we've got a hot gubernatorial primary because of this. Well, you can tell them that the PPP, we had one one polling place, and Nellie Gorbea came in,
Yeah.
right? Talked to me, and she said, this is beautiful.
Yep.
She even had me take a picture with her in front of two supervisors. I don't know what she was gonna use it for, but it was great.
Hey, if it was my choice, we'd put all 10 precincts right up at the civic center.
Yeah,
Send
no,
everyone,
I
you
know we
I
can't
mean,
do
we'd do
that.
like one central
One
voting.
mass, yeah.
Yeah.
I know we can't
But
do that, but you might point that out to him when he says, Papa, we got a big gubernatorial plan.
I
Was the
know.
PPP big? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I know, I
And it
mean,
was, it worked perfectly. Were you here for the P?
I wasn't. No, this is my
Well,
first
these
general
guys were.
election with you guys.
Yeah,
And it
we've,
worked
we've done
beautifully.
just 5 before.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they'll allow us to do that. I mean, as long as you guys are okay with, I mean, it might create a little bit of voter confusion when it comes to November. You might have to answer to that. That's the
We'll
only
answer to that.
liability that I can see.
Yeah, that was the only comment I was gonna make, was because I got the postcard for the polling place.
Right,
And you're telling them here, this is where you gotta go, but then now in September, you might tell them something different. And
right.
it could cause some confusion, but your point of putting out notices and things like that, I think would help alleviate that.
Right,
Plus, I also think it's the primary. Not a lot of people, the turnout's low for those things to begin with. And with the early voting, like you mentioned, I think the foot traffic is really gonna be down. So I don't think it's gonna
I'm
cause
hopeful.
an issue for a lot of people. I think for the majority, it's not gonna be an issue at all.
I
As
just
a
wanted to
matter-
add something quickly.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you all know that a lot of people are applying for mail ballots. They know they can. They don't need a reason. They don't
Yep.
need to pretend to be sick. They see number 4, I want to vote from home,
yeah.
and a lot of people are requesting that, so.
Well, I think too, because a lot of people still, September's a ways away and nobody knows what's gonna be going on.
Yeah,
Right,
As far as any new viruses coming out, breakouts or anything along that line. So sometimes it's a
I
just in
think it
case.
changed a lot of people.
Because I
Yeah.
know in the last general election, some people, because we had them listed as having mail-in ballots, that they never used them. And they said, well, we applied because we didn't know what was going to be going on.
right.
So they played it safe and they got the mail-in ballot. So they had to vote provisionally to make sure they didn't actually cast that one.
Yeah.
But I think some people
I'm
probably do
hearing
the
how
same
much
thing.
they enjoyed it and how easy it was.
Oh, it
and
is.
They want to keep
Yeah.
continuing.
And the early voting as well.
I think the early voting
Yeah.
is the best thing in the world.
That really
We
is.
did well, right, with the early voting here. We had.
I
quite a
think you
few.
did,
Yeah, we
yeah.
did.
Looking back at the numbers, you guys did really well,
Yeah.
AP
yeah.
worked the,
What did you
They
have?
worked-
to-
Well, you guys might be hired again.
It's
It's hard to find poll workers who are available for 20 days in a row.
right.
It was a thing, it just got, the line was up past the fire station first thing
Yeah,
in the morning, so she called up, right, had to set up another table.
I think we won't have any issues with that for this primary or even this general election. However, in 2024, we will be facing that again, I'm sure.
Yeah, the presidential ones.
Yeah. But being a non-presidential year, I think that, all it's gonna do is spread out our voters, which is good.
Yeah.
Good for us.
In fact,
so-
listening to you talk, I'm trying to figure out, you're the computer expert. The state, do they have anything primary other than the governor? I don't think anybody's primary in Nerona, and I don't know if there's a primary.
I think there is a primary.
But there is for the governor, no doubt about it.
Lieutenant Governor, I think there's a.
Somebody's
primary.
running against
Yeah,
her,
yeah.
There's a primary there.
right?
So at the state level, there are quite a few primaries,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, I don't, okay, that's something to check.
Was there more than one for Langevin seat?
Yeah, I was gonna say, the magazine and somebody else.
Yeah.
There might be a primary for that. I would assume all those state offices are gonna
Okay.
have primaries. But I mean, we can propose it to Board of Elections and see what they
Yeah.
say
Oh,
to
yeah.
us. I mean, what's the worst they say? No,
Yeah.
and then we gotta open all 10.
Seeing as we're such a small town, I mean, it's really what, like 8 square miles?
We are a small town, but if you look at your registered voters, you've increased 3,000 registered voters since 2018. So your amount of voters has greatly increased, almost 20%.
That's why we did the map and we came down, right?
Yeah,
Because, and we're gonna get more probably with this development here.
you definitely will. You guys will have to redistrict again in 10 years. You're gonna be looking at changes for sure.
But it won't be as bad because we pushed,
I
what
don't
was
know.
that call, that point where she said that we try to keep it within a 2-point
Oh, the.
Deviation.
Yeah, the
deviation, thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
yep, the
Vice Chair.
deviation, yep.
But we were close to the 10.
Right.
It depends on where the developments are going. You could be well over the 10 when it comes up after
Yep.
the next census. I think that I don't know if the changes we made will help us.
All right, should we, do you want us to vote on the polling locations?
Yes, so.
Let's do them one at a time. Ward 1.
Hold on, let me get the list.
Yeah, it says on here, approval of polling locations.
All right, so let's
And
start
this
with
is just
Ward
for the
1.
primary.
Yes, just for the primary.
Okay, let's start with Ward 1 and let's determine right now, okay?
Okay,
All right, so Ward 1,
Wakefield Hills.
yep.
we have Wakefield Hills School and Sacred Heart Church. Sacred Heart Church currently has 1,176 voters registered to vote there. Wakefield Hills Schools has 3,078.
School in session that day?
No,
It's not,
No,
schools are
There-
closed.
no.
I'll entertain a motion that,
Sacred Heart Church.
no, I'll entertain a motion that Wakefield Hills be the,
Wakefield Hills.
Yeah.
I will second that.
No.
no, you meant, I said I'll entertain a motion.
Oh, you led, oh, okay, I'll move that motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So voted unanimously. Opposed? I forgot to say opposed. All right, Madam Clerk, Ward 2.
Okay, let's get to Ward 2 here. So we have the Holy Ghost. This is one of the ones that might be an issue because you do have a state rep line. David, since you're here, I'm gonna ask you, since you're gonna probably know this question. Do you have two House representatives in your ward?
You have Tom and Ray and Pat. Either one of them have, I don't think either one have.
Excuse me, Council President,
Sorry,
you want to come forward and,
you have,
Dave Goslin, 4 Montclair Street. You have Rep 26 and 25. No,
That
6,
goes for
7,
yours, but they
6 and
don't have a
7.
primary, so.
But neither one have a primary.
Right.
So I don't, as far as I know, I think they both, and one doesn't even have rarely a general, doesn't have. a
Yeah,
that's
primary.
an array, right? He's elected already almost.
Pretty much, he has to go through the process unless a write-in or
Adam.
somebody comes out of the woodwork.
So we're gonna stick with that.
I'll just
proposal.
ask the Council President, seeing it's his ward. Now, neither one of those 2 locations are a church.
Correct.
And
Well, let me
you
tell
favor
you,
one or the other? One of them is it one of them Clyde Towers?
High Towers
Yeah,
has
I'd say
2,090
Holy
registered
Ghost would be
voters.
better.
Yeah.
Holy Ghost has 1,476.
You have a
registered voters.
preference? Not that they were gonna,
White Towers has no parking.
So in
More power.
this is my dilemma as the councilman of Ward 2.
yes,
And that's why I'm here to listen. I thought it was gonna be more about the general too.
okay,
You have Clyde Towers, who has over 100 voters in there that live there that may not be able to get out and vote, but they may be able to do an absentee ballot or whatever, or vote from home. But again, I totally understand the parking does stink
That's
there.
terrible.
And the Holy Ghost, like you said, that's the less of the 2 voters.
yeah,
So you have more voters up here on the hill than you do in the Phoenix side for that district. But, that's kind of like with Pat Morgan, she's actually in Ward 1 and Ward 2. And Norray is in 2 and 3. So
yeah.
I think you might even have a partial of 4 now. But I mean, that's your decision. I struggle with Clyde Towers because of, trying to get them out. And a lot of them like to come downstairs, go right into their hall and go right back upstairs.
Can I ask you, you don't have a primary either, do you?
No.
There's no primary in that thing but the governor. Well, in the state.
Yeah, there's no primaries in council
So
or,
it kind of doesn't affect you.
no,
Because the general, I'm pretty sure all 10 will be open.
Oh, yeah.
no.
Yeah.
But I can tell you now, though, if, and I know Rep Noray's out of state at a representative conference. If his voters had to go out of their district down to Holy Ghost instead of Clyde Towers, I don't think he'd be too happy about that, because we all just received these cards and now, and that's gonna start confusion for the general. Although he doesn't have an opponent, all of a sudden people are gonna drive down to Holy Ghost at the general saying, hey, I voted here for the primary. Why am I not?
But the clerk's
Voting
got a
here.
response to that with the notifications and
But that David does bring up a good point, though. So then when you get to November, someone who went somewhere else, now they're gonna go back to that place, because that's what
But it's
voters
gonna
do.
happen if you take Holy Ghost.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, if you take Clyde Towers instead of Holy Ghost, what you're saying is gonna happen, except for the people who live there. What's gonna happen, the confusion with the card is gonna happen to the Holy Ghost people, because they're gonna say, hey, wait a minute, I'm coming to Holy Ghost. Oh, no, you gotta go to Clyde Towers.
right.
It's 6 of one and a half a dozen of another, except like what Dave said about the people who live there, that just they come down, that's a
But they
difference.
could always use a mail ballot.
Right,
There could be some kind of drive to get those people to get a mail ballot and
So
send
we
it
could
in.
definitely drop off applications. I probably should have mentioned this as well, and I don't think I've had a chance to speak with all of you in your entirety since Colleen and I went out and we visited all 10 of the polling locations with a member of the Board of Elections. And we met all the people who run all of these locations and voiced concerns, even with Clyde Tower, and expressed to them. I knew that that was a concern for all of you. And they did promise to us that they will send out a code red call asking their residents on that day to not park near there, to allow voters to park up there, not code red, whatever their robocall system
Yep.
is. As well as they're willing to put flyers in mailboxes and let them know that we are going to be having an election and ask to leave parking available in front. So I think that they're making an effort to help us out there to make it.
how about clean, what is it, JP, they have a bingo or something?
On Monday night, I was just gonna ask that, because the other issue's been Monday night's the bingo night,
Yep.
and they don't like to give that up so that everything can be set up the night before and everything
Right.
along that line. So just curious if that was discussed too.
Nope, I can reach out and make myself a note right now, to reach back out, to Mr. O'Rourke and ask him, if there's any flexibility on that.
Yeah, because I've been there before and we're the only polling location that hasn't been set up, so all the workers have to, do
I
all
mean,
that
we could
stuff.
also be flexible on the other end too and ask that our DPW just set that one location up
Yeah.
that morning.
Yeah, it just, people just have to know ahead of
Have a
time.
problem with that? Dave, I don't know if you
Was
know.
it that bad?
Didn't they have a problem with that?
All those places, they've had problems.
No, I mean, with the DPW, I'm not going there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's-
Well, they do it, for our
They usually
financial
do it
town
the day
meeting.
before,
so-
don't they? Set up the
Financial
night
town meeting,
before.
that's only one polling place.
Right, but I'm saying they go in the morning, so that's all we would ask. We wouldn't ask them to set up all 10 polling
Right.
locations next morning. We
Just
would
the-
just
just
ask
that
for
one.
that one. And it's actually the Roberts one that has the bingo on Mondays, right? Or is it
No.
Clyde?
Clyde,
Okay, they alternate, so they were
It's
telling us when
Clyde.
we were there. All right, so it's Clyde that has the bingo the night before, so maybe we ask our DPW to not go until the next morning.
I think Dan McKee had a fundraiser one night, the night before an election. There, when he went in the next morning, the place was a mess.
mhm.
What's this, which place, Clyde Towers?
One other thing I was thinking of regarding if we have the one polling place. On the poll pads, would it be possible, I don't know if the state can do this, but obviously, because normally if you're in the wrong polling location, you get a notification. I'm just wondering if something could be in there so that if somebody comes to, if we have it at Holy Ghost,
Yeah,
but they belong at Clyde Towers, if when they check in, the supervisors can say, hey, come general election, you're going to be at Clyde Towers.
I don't know if they're that savvy that it will
No.
say
They
that.
would,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, only if they're at the wrong place will the
Yeah.
iPad
You
notify.
Because-
get the
they're
right
gonna-
moderator that savvy, I know he'd do it, Maddie would, I mean, if you get the right moderator, they'll tell them. Or you can put your
Well,
sign. Remember, you vote in November,
Right.
you're gonna vote.
So I think, and I think that we definitely have that covered for the primary, but to Dave's point, if we send everyone to one location for the primary, 9 times out of 10, voters are just gonna go
Yep.
back to that
Same
location in the
place.
general, in
Even if you
November.
tell them,
even if you tell them. So
Yes.
that's, I think, was the concern that Dave was trying to say, is that we might be smooth sailing with flying colors for September, cutting them
Or
down.
pandemonium.
But
at the-
pandemonium come November of, I went back to where I am, they're
All
saying
right.
I can't vote
I have a
there. So
question
that's
for
a
you
question, just a,
how much are we gonna kowtow to these voters? I've been on this board, I don't know, 10 years, and that's all you always hear. The voter, he's gonna come in. I mean, come on, if you tell me that I'm at Christ the King for the primary, but
right,
for the election, I'm at the Manor,
Mhm.
right? I'll go to the Manor. So who's this voter that, oh, hey, I came here the last time. I mean, if you do your thing, you know,
Yeah.
those notices,
I agree. I mean, as.
you're pandering to the, you know,
I know.
and to how many, like Colleen said about the tons of mail ballots are being, you know, asked for, the early voting. So how many voters are you gonna change your polling place or make sure that you're doing it for this voter?
You know, one of the bulletin boards, or like you say, send a flyer to every resident of the towers saying that your polling place is going to be Holy Ghost. If you can't physically make it there,
Contact
please-
me for
would you-
mail
would you
ballot.
please apply for a mail ballot prior to
Yeah,
such and
and
such.
we
a
can,
day.
You know what else, Dave? If I may, Dave, you guys do stuff, right? In other words, come the general election, you have an election, somebody running again, all right, you would tell these voters, now remember, don't forget me, as you campaign,
No, I did that back in 2006,
yeah,
and the printer sent right on that borderline,
yeah,
Michael Jordan and all them, they were right on that. They all went down to the Elks at the time. I got called names and everything at the end of that, and I vowed never to send out this ever again. I leave this to the state. I don't leave it to, now, if somebody asks me, like, there school committeeman Kutu didn't realize how much the lines changed. And he went for signatures off his normals that we would both go to. And
yeah.
I'm like, granted, they're all Ward 3 now. And he didn't realize that. So, and there's people who may not have gotten these cards who don't even know they're Ward 3 right now. Or they may not have paid attention to these cards when they got them.
That's my point, you know,
Right. So I understand what you're saying, Ray, because it is a primary. We all know what happens. It's like ghost town. We understand that. You know, I just more concerned about the general itself.
yes, that's a problem. We're having another meeting about the general, right, Madam Clerk?
yes, we are.
That'll be addressed.
Now, when you plan the budget for this year, did you take into account that the 10 polling places would be open for the primary?
Yes.
Yeah, so there is money in the budget for that.
Yeah.
Okay,
The only thing is, you know, the amount of people and the poll workers, like a lot of these kids that you guys are mentioning, they got school this year. They got college. They don't have a day off, you know, so it's.
yeah, well, it's
it's-
gonna
I
be the
have
same thing in
35
November.
applications
Well, that's
of
good.
people that want to work.
Well, that's
Just
great.
35. I sent out 200.
Yeah, that's a far cry from 60. Remember I said 10 moderators, 10 clerks, 40 supervisors? That's a
Yeah.
far cry from.
I
You need
mean-
what, 4 or 5 at each location?
6.
6? So that's 60 people and you only got 35.
That's what I'm saying.
So,
That's why we want to open up 5 instead of 10.
I got more people that pulled out.
But for the general, and I'm just gonna, you know, I know you're talking about the primary. I don't think you can reduce because
No.
these cards are out.
No,
there.
no, we're not reducing for the primary.
That's-
I mean, for the election.
that's-
Oh, no, we wouldn't do it for the general. We've never done it for the general. We've always had 10 polling places. I don't think the state would let us do 5.
No.
Remember, the
Although,
state used to try to force us to have 8 moderators.
oh,
instead of,
Jesus.
You know, certain polling places with the big numbers.
That's when I had to go on.
That was a fiasco.
I have some applications I'd like to give you if you want to give them to people to be poll workers.
We're not on poll workers yet.
Okay.
Number 2, what do you want to do?
All right, so number 2, what do we got? Oh, that's on David.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
what we're
So
discussing.
we're talking Holy Ghost or we're talking Clyde Towers? What's your
Madam Vice
pleasure?
Chair?
Well, I would go with the Holy Ghost. It's got better parking.
Yeah.
But I understand what,
Wait, September 8th?
September 13th.
September 13th.
September 13th, I was just making sure that wasn't the first week, because remember Labor Day and
Yeah.
Yes.
carnival
yes.
rides and everything
Yeah.
else.
no,
Go
there's,
and take a
there's no
ride.
There you go.
carnival before.
No, I'm saying like when the feast happens, it's
The-
going into the September 4th, 5th era. I was just making sure that wasn't the following Tuesday.
September 13th.
So it's the following Tuesday. So
Yeah.
usually it's cleaned up by.
Yeah,
JP,
that was last year.
what's your pleasure?
Holy Ghost.
I will go with the majority. I'll entertain a motion that the one polling place we're recommending for the Ward 2 primary is the Holy Ghost. Any
JP,
second?
Yes, I will move that motion.
No, he moved it.
He moved it, I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Madam Clerk, Ward 3.
Ward 3, okay.
Dave, we will have another meeting for the general. Oh, all right.
Ward 3, we have the Manor and Christ the King.
Oh,
So same situation, kind of.
but that ain't even close.
So the Manor has 1,698 registered voters. Christ the King has 1,869. So
Because
they're
they can't
pretty,
get the most.
they're pretty evenly split. They're only off by a couple hundred,
And
not
you,
even 200.
I assume that you and our illustrious Board of Canvassers clerk went there and saw these places.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Well, I don't even think that's close. Christ the King is gonna beat.
I do
the me-
agree. I mean, I think you're gonna run into the same,
Oh, yeah.
issue where,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, I do agree that Christ the King has a great facility. Parking is plentiful and
It's almost walking distance. But
not only that, let me tell you a little story about Christ the King, where you can't, I don't know if you could do that at the Manor. Karen was the moderator of Christ the King. I don't know if it was, whatever it was, but it was outside, it was cold and it was snowing. And I happened to be there. I said, get them in, go around. You've seen the Christ the King, right? The hall, go around the back, around the side, around it, and they all got in without getting cold and stuff like that. You ain't doing that at the Manor or Holy Ghost or anything, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So without any discussion, I'll entertain a motion that Christ the King be the polling place in Ward 3.
I will move that motion.
second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. Did you want to say something about Ward 3, Sarah? Oh,
nope,
all right.
I'm good
Ward
to go.
4.
Ward 4, so our choices are Maisie Quinn Elementary School, or Maisie Quinn School now, sorry, it's no longer elementary, and St. Mary's Church.
it's not gonna be open.
I think
Is
Christ.
Maisie gonna be open that day?
No,
No,
the school is
No.
closed that day for elections.
No, they're, all the schools are closed on the primary.
That's-
Yeah, it said in the paper,
Yep, yeah.
primary and election, both of them are closed. That's why we took Wakefield Hills in one. All right, I'll entertain a motion that Maisie Quinn be the polling place in Ward 4.
I'll move that motion.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously.
Okay.
Madam Clerk, Ward 5.
Ward 5, I think that's gonna be an easy choice. You have Cardi's and Greenbush School.
Oh, wow, that's another one. We had a problem with God. God, he's great guys and stuff, but then we have a problem with
Yeah,
God.
you know what? They were very accommodating to us when we called and scheduled our walkthrough with them and.
Did they show you
But I will
the area?
defer to JP.
Oh, yeah,
JP,
yeah, it's not one of our better polling locations. that's
What
for
is?
sure.
What is?
Cardi's.
Yeah, because he's got, I was gonna defer to JP. He's got some problems with God.
I mean, it works. It's ADA compliant. It did pass approval with the Board of Elections, but yeah, it's definitely not as large. But it also has a relatively small amount.
And again, you got to send this to the Board of Elections, and they told you, take a school, please, if you can.
Yes, they did.
So this is gonna help you to say, well, we took a school, it was Greenbush. We took all the schools.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion that Greenbush School be the polling place for the Ward 5.
I agree.
I'll move that motion.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously.
So we did tour all of the polling locations. They have been approved by the Board of Elections. They are all ADA compliant. There is a few things that we do need to fix. There's some van accessible signs that are needed at some of the polling locations. I mean, I don't have the list in front of me of things that they wanted us to upgrade. A couple of handicap signs needed to be replaced. A couple places will need temporary signs, but that was the only thing that they found. So, oh, and Wakefield Hills, there was some cracks on the sidewalk that I need to reach out to the school department about that they'd like to have
Wakefield Hills
rectified.
has got cracks.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, so,
10 years.
but Maisie Quinn parking lot is the biggest parking lot.
but other than that, I mean, I think compared to other communities, I'm sure had much greater issues at their locations. I think we fared pretty well. I mean, if it costs us a few $100s in signs and fixing a cracked sidewalk, then I think we did all right.
So what we did just now is just tentative to approval from the,
From the Board of Elections, yep. So we need to combine our polling locations and CVRS and propose it to the Board of Elections.
so if they say no, we're
Uh,
Go
automatically
back to
going
the
to 10.
drawing board.
If
and
they
you
say
do
no-
have money in the budget, so. that's
We
all.
did, I left the budget the same you guys had it in 2020, so that affords for all 10 polling locations to be open.
Madam Clerk, if they say no, could you set up a virtual meeting or something
Try,
with them?
I can
I have
try.
handled the Board of Elections before.
Yeah, but
And
your
they
money's
know,
not
they
on
were-
it.
they were at
Your
that
money's not on it.
That doesn't matter. I was right. Oh, what about the one with, what was her name? Our former clerk, Mary Ann. Remember they were something about the polling place at, what's his name, at Clyde Towers. Senator, ex-Senator Alves and Felix Apollonia. Remember that? We had it right where, I said right where you did, Colleen. We had a virtual meeting. The board voted, Alves wanted something else, and I said, no, the board voted 5-0 out. We won.
Anyway,
So in other words, please, don't just let Nunes say, sorry. Tell him the chairman would like to talk to him.
Okay. Well.
Because I called him
hopefully-
several times about, an alternate
Yep.
working, never returned my call. So if you can, set up a virtual, whatever.
Well, hopefully we don't have to get to that. Hopefully they'll
Well-
just accept our recommendation and we don't have to get to that.
I think you got a unanimous. I know the two alternates didn't vote, but I think we
Right.
pretty much got a unanimous board that those 5 are the best polling places. Do you have anything?
well, I know.
No, go
I just think, there'll be a political argument somewhere about that.
Yeah, well, that's my job, I guess. What's the, you got anything else, Madam Clerk or Madam
That's all.
Board of on the approval of polling locations?
Um,
Number 4 on the agenda?
Do you guys want to make a motion to certify the 5 wards as proposed? I know you've made motions on each individual
Okay.
polling location. Do you want to do it? as
I'll
a whole?
entertain a motion that we certify all 5 polling places as the polling places for the September 13th, 2022 primary.
I'll move that motion.
Okay,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously.
thank you. Doesn't hurt anything.
Okay.
All right. Number 5, discussion, action, consideration of poll workers for September 13th, 2022 state primary. Madam Clerk.
So we've had a good response to our letters. We sent out letters to all of our former poll workers, which I think was 160 that we
I think
had
so.
from 2018 to current. We've sent out letters, figuring that some that declined in 2020 might want to come back now that we're entering the endemic stages of COVID. We have received, I thought it was 50 something.
Well, we got 47 back. 30 said, yes, I'll work. 17 said, remove me from your list. They didn't want to hear it anymore.
Okay.
And a lot of people just haven't answered, and the kids are in school, so.
All right, I have spoken to Maddie. She said she would do it as long as she's the moderator or a clerk.
Yeah, I think anyway.
Yeah, I have her,
Did she send you back her letter? She asked me. I said, I'm going to tell them. at the meeting."
It is Fitz, yep.
yeah, I have Olivia.
Well, she's another one.
That's another.
Okay,
So
yeah.
That's her sister. You got
Okay.
Madison Fitz?
I think I just have, they are in alphabetical
Can you
order,
ask
so
her to
let me
send back
just-
the letter and just stating
I told
that?
her.
Because
yeah.
we have a checklist asking what position they'd like to
Yeah, no,
work.
I just have Olivia.
And what position did she like to work? Because she wanted to move up.
Olivia wants to be a clerk or a supervisor.
A clerk or a supervisor. All right.
Mhm.
All right. Well, you can tentatively, I'll tell her to send in the letter, but you can tentatively pencil in Madison.
Yeah, we
Fitz as a
really,
moderator.
we really need at least an application from
That's
her.
when she goes to work at home.
She asked me for a recommendation for a new job, so she's not getting a new job right now. I guess she's out searching.
We also have a campaign going at the library. They've been nice enough to put flyers out for me and applications for poll workers. The senior center has done the same for me. I have asked the police chief to share it on social media, as well as our Ward 3 councilman, since he runs one of the West Warwick sites.
Let me interrupt you for 1 minute. Council President, I told your town manager your budget, which I'm glad it passed, so I mean, there's no problem. Your town manager when she mentioned social media, it dawned on me. He said on the robocall, please join me in approving the West Warwick Town
Oh, we went
budget.
through that.
Remember I told you and I told you, that's a no-no. He can say, please join me in voting for the budget. He can't say, please join me in approving, because I would imagine that robocall is some kind of a town, it's not his. It's a town function, and you can't say, please join me in approving.
Can't influence the vote.
Yeah,
Since that's not on the agenda, I will not comment.
okay, but no, she just brought up social media, so we're gonna do some stuff. Poll workers. Go ahead, are you done, Sarah?
Yeah, so that's what I have so far on poll workers. I mean, I think we're in a pretty good position
Yeah,
considering
mention
we're still
that.
2 months out.
Mention that to Nunez too. You only got 35 poll workers.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3
Yeah.
sites about West Warwick on the internet. right?
Because if you mention that to them,
Thing like that.
Yeah, yep. So, I mean, hopefully people will share what we put out there.
do you know what you need, Colleen? So far, if you
Well,
take those
no,
35,
it determined, it's based on whether or not in the primary, we do have those 5 polling locations that we don't have to worry as much, and we have more time to get people for November.
no, I know that, but what I'm saying is your 35 that you have now,
Yeah,
that's for September 13th.
yes,
Okay, do you have 5 moderators? 5 people who said, I'll be a moderator?
yes,
You do have 5.
yes.
You have 5 clerks.
I don't know about the clerks.
Just off the top of my head, knowing who has responded, I think we would be all right.
Right now I have 4.
4 clerks.
Yeah,
You got 5 moderators without Madison Fitz?
If
you're
you have
gonna
more
lose
than
her.
5 moderators in there, then one of them might be a clerk too.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, we really have to go through them.
Okay. Well, put Madison Fitz as a moderator, because other than Paul, she's our second best moderator.
Well, I put a note that I'll need her paperwork, but I'd like to
Yes,
hand
well, I'll tell her
everybody
to
some.
send her the letter. I
Yeah,
told her I was going to say it at the meeting.
well, she has been sent the letter, but she hasn't sent it back.
Right. She asked me if she should send it back, and I said, well, I'll tell them at the thing, but now you say you want it back, she'll send it
Yeah,
back.
and I can give a few extra applications to you all if you would like to.
try and recruit some people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Madison said she could recruit some people.
Okay, that'd be great.
And also both, as you requested at our last meeting, both party chairs have been asked.
Cooperative.
Well, I think one has been very responsive. I haven't really heard back from the other one regarding poll workers, so. One of them has definitely, I mean, he went through our list with a fine tooth comb and
Yeah, 2 combs.
and you know, commented on people that weren't on our list that he felt should have been there and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, and there's people that have passed away that I've had mail come back and they moved out of state. I mean, what are you
Yeah,
gonna
right.
do? Some people just say, I'm all done. I don't want to do it anymore.
And I think the state is also doing their own recruitment drive, and I'm sure in 2020 you used their list as well, or Kerry used their list as well to come up with additional poll workers.
And if you could keep in mind, they don't have to live in West Warwick.
Right.
You know, you could have family and friends that live in Coventry. They can work for us.
But we,
You
if
just have
if
to be
they
a registered
approve,
voter.
if they approve our 5 polling places, we only need 30. Moderator or
So-
clerk at each one and 4 supervisors.
Yep, so I'd say 6, yeah, 30, I think that'd be good, and at least one alternate. Maybe what we do is, you know, hire a greeter and have them
Slash
train as
supervisor
a
or
supervisor as well, so that way, in the event that someone does call out at the last minute, we
We're
have
not gonna
that.
need a moderator here.
So you need 8.
Oh, sorry, we will have a 6 polling locate,
Oh, town hall will be open.
although, will we be open for the primary?
Yeah,
Will we be a
we're-
polling location for the primary?
Why would
In
you
the
be?
past, have you guys been?
Yeah, I believe that a polling place here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I thought it was only for the early voting.
I thought.
The
so
early
too.
voting it is,
Yeah, but
but
I
there's,
thought-
what
I thought-
ballot would be cast here on election
I
day?
thought it was the federal election when you have like,
Right,
you know,
Your limited
presidential
ballot.
or
Yeah,
Yes.
you're
senator.
limited,
Yes, you
yeah.
have
Then-
to have
then they
a
can
presidential
come here.
election.
I
Usually-
think that's 2024. I don't think that would.
I don't think
happen.
we would have it for this.
Primary.
I
Yeah,
don't think so, but I'll
No,
look
I don't
into
think so
that.
either.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to think of a scenario why someone would need to come here to vote. I don't think so, but we will be here for early voting. That is a definite. And we're gonna try to use staff to do it rather than hiring poll workers.
Yeah, I can do it myself.
We don't have any local primaries and, I mean, we have enough people in my office.
Did you
that-
check, you don't, you absolutely, there was one more you wanted to check about a local primary.
But, yeah,
The Senate seat,
Which one? Burke?
Burke.
He's good. I already checked it.
you did, okay.
Yeah.
So we have no primaries in the town of West Warwick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one I just checked.
And as far as early voting in Woonsocket, I did it myself. And I banged through it. It was like, it couldn't have gone smoother. We didn't have to pay anybody. They came in to see me. I took their license. They were in and out. All they did was compliment on how fast the line moved.
See, our canvas clerk has already earned their money.
So it makes sense because I know the process. They can come to me and do the early voting and you don't have to pay someone. And we have, like
So
Sarah said,
generally, we
staff.
might consider,
Absolutely.
but for the primary, I don't see
Okay.
any reason why we need to hire anyone for the 20 days.
What are you
Um,
checking, Madam Clerk?
I'm just double checking Burke's seat. I looked at
Thank
so
you,
many of them,
Sarah.
I want to make sure that,
Yeah, that's why I couldn't, I wasn't definitive. I didn't want to say something that was wrong because I wanted to look as well. There's so many races and it's confusing and you want to make sure you're making the right decision when you say something.
9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's read it.
so.
No,
He's checking
His
on
opponent
something, I'm not sure what.
withdrew.
And
Yeah,
she
he
also,
only has a
yeah.
Republican. There's no primary for Senator Burke.
Chairman of the school committee.
There's no primary for Senator Burke. His opponent withdrew.
Okay,
Oh, his primary opponent withdrew. He does have an opponent in the general.
what's his name? Two school committee people. Does the appointed school committee person in Ward 4, does she
Ward
have
5.
opposition?
Yes, she does, but it's,
But it's not a primary.
it's not. a
Because
primary.
two school committee members, I believe, two school committee members. I forgot, who's the chairman? Who's the chairman of the school committee? Louis Cologne and the person in Ward. Somebody doesn't have a Ward 1 that, oh yeah, what's his name?
1 and 3 don't.
Joe DiMartino.
All right, so there's nothing.
No.
They have nothing.
And neither
And
does
then
Louis.
Ward 2's got Rainey, but he's a Republican. And the school committee,
He
I mean,
has
the town
2.
council,
There's, yep, an independent, a Republican and a Democrat.
Well, not getting signatures, so
who's the independent for what,
the end of
for what,
2.
council 2, yours? Okay,
No, 1, school committee.
School committee
Oh.
too.
She's not getting signatures, so she's kind of withdrawing without withdrawing.
so what is, so,
Signed my papers the other night.
so Kutu has no,
He has a Democrat and Republican, no
Okay.
independent.
all right, so we have no primary in the town of West Warwick at all. And I think when you check, don't do it now, sir. When you check even on the state level, I haven't heard a single thing about the Attorney General. Now, he's not term challenged, so he's running again. I don't think
I
anyone,
can look it up right now. It's very easy.
well, you don't have to,
That's the second.
Primary. You want to know the Attorney General's office?
yes,
There's no primary.
Secretary of State.
I don't think that there is either, but off the top of my head, I don't think.
Yeah,
there
but
is.
as long as you're checking it.
Oh, yes, there is. Sorry.
Primary,
There is. There's 3 Democrats that have put in for Secretary of State.
okay. Who am I, General Treasurer.
There is a primary.
Okay,
How about Langevin seat, Congress?
That's a.
Give me a free for all.
So I think that it's
This-
safe to say at the state level, there are quite a few.
like 4 or
primaries.
5, right?
Yeah.
But there's nothing.
But mostly on the Democratic side too.
This is Rhode Island.
Yes.
All right, does anybody have consideration of poll workers?
So, I mean, we wanted to, I put this on the agenda, Nancy had asked about it, and I think that, I don't know if she had a purpose for asking outside of what we've already discussed, just to kind of
No,
give an
that
idea.
was, I just thought to have it on the agenda so we could
Yeah.
get that straightened out.
Right, which I think is a good idea for us to have a dialogue about it. I mean, I don't think we're in a position right now to make a decision on who's working the polls for us. I don't think we need to right now, but I think that at least we're in the holding pattern. We can find out about our polling locations, and then you guys can make some decisions.
About how long for the Board of Elections to get back on the, don't know? Okay.
I don't know, hopefully as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice for us to know, so we had more time to react.
Right.
So you don't know when they're gonna let us know.
No,
huh?
they didn't give me a timeline. I'm hoping that it's pretty quickly. I mean, it's would be in all of our best interest to know what we're doing as soon as possible, including them. So, so yeah, that's where we stand on that.
They have let us done that, but we have done that before.
Right, and I hope they will again. I know that, we're not as new into the pandemic as we were the last time you combined, so I don't know if that's gonna affect their decision or not, but we'll see, we'll try. Doesn't hurt to try, right?
Right.
There was one more thing actually, do you want to go into public comment and I'll talk under that,
Okay.
right?
Anything else under consideration of poll workers for the primary? Hearing none, the next order of business is public comment. Before we get to the Dave, public comment? Paul? Okay. There's no public comment. Sarah?
Sorry. So as you guys know, we are currently certifying, well, not certifying. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry.
Validating.
Validating, thank you. Signatures on nomination papers. They are, I mean, we have quite a few that are already ready for your signatures. Most of our candidates are in good position to be qualified. I'm proposing that we meet again next Wednesday to have you guys officially sign these papers. I don't know what your practice has been in the past. Some Board of Canvassers just come in on their own and sign. I know you guys have signature stamps.
No, next Wednesday,
Yeah, that'd be okay, yeah.
That's what I'm looking at.
next Wednesday.
And
3
that gives
o'clock.
me a chance to get them all done.
They need to
They're
be up to the
trickling in.
state Thursday.
Next
so,
Wednesday at 3 o'clock, meeting,
Yeah, I would suggest either Wednesday or Tuesday, either way.
Wednesday.
Okay. Colleen, we'll have to bring them up to the state on Thursday. I will not be here for the meeting next week. I'm away at clerk school. But
Clerk school.
clerk school, yes, that's my brief.
Aren't you already a CMC?
I am, but I help run the institute.
Oh, boy, do we have workers over here.
So Colleen will be here, so if you guys can help her with the meeting and stuff, that would be great.
That's
It'll be your
Wednesday, the
first one
20th.
flying solo, so
That's Wednesday, the 20th.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
yes,
and I'll have all the
that sounds about right.
papers validated and ready for your
So
signatures.
rest,
for
rest
nothing.
your hand, right?
Yeah, but not for nothing. I'm here Wednesday morning for probate at 9:30.
Well, if it's a pleasure of the board to meet earlier, I'm sure that, I mean, obviously
I know I'm retired.
Yeah,
I'm here at 9:30. I'm just saying, I'll come at 3, but
what's that?
you get it
The
done.
alternates
Will you be done,
No,
Colleen?
the alternates don't need to be here. It's just you three that would be
All right.
signing.
Is 9:30, would you be done by
One
now?
of us is-
The only issue is this room would not be available to meet in
Why?
because probate court.
I'm gonna be, believe me, I'm retired. I'm gonna be the last probate case on there. I already asked Mitch, I said, what's the agenda look like? Because I ain't coming at 8:30 to sign in. So I'm gonna be the last one. So put it at,
10:30?
guys,
I'm fine with that.
What time?
10:30?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, next meeting, so
How
it's
about
gonna
you?
be,
Are you gonna-
she's here, she's stuck here anyway.
No, but to do her work.
I mean,
I'll be done by
All
then.
right with you?
All right, next Wednesday, 10:30.
I wrote it down.
sorry,
Wrote it down?
7:20,
I
right?
was gonna put 10:30.
At 10:30? I mean, there's no motions that need to be taken or anything like that
Yeah.
necessarily. That's
Yeah,
why
but you'll have
some
some-
boards don't even do it as a meeting, but I figure what. the
Who knows, you might
If
have
the three of you are
something,
gonna be here at one time, then I want to make sure there's an agenda posted.
you may have something.
Yeah, those
from the
signatures,
Board of
yeah, that's what we're
Elections.
gonna do next week.
Be May, that's
Okay.
possible.
So if you do, you're not gonna be around all next week?
I leave Friday morning to
This
drive
Friday.
3.5 hours to New
Give me a
Hampshire.
call.
Yeah.
And say, what do we want to do with this here, the Board of Elections?
I
said?
have to post the agenda before I leave, so we're not gonna have any, I can just put it on the agenda and then if you can
Yes.
act on it, then you can. If you can't, you just
Table it.
table it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
beautiful.
post the agenda tomorrow, and those are the two things, it's gonna be certification of nomination papers and,
And
we'll
if we
just say
haven't-
certification of polling locations, we'll put that on there again, exactly the same way,
And
right?
if we can't vote on.
Certification of polling, I thought we just.
Right,
Right,
they
you
say
just
no.
did it, you did
Oh,
it.
oh, I get you. Yep,
They say no.
certification of
You have to.
polling.
You're gonna
location.
have to certify again,
Okay. I got you now.
is that okay?
Yep.
All right, all
with me.
right.
Okay, so Wednesday, the 20th at 10:30.
Yeah. Wait a minute. You all done, Sarah, with your public? Colleen, got anything you want to say?
No,
All right.
Thank you for taking the position.
Yes.
thank you for having
I
me.
have a usual question.
Well, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Any questions on the comment or general
No,
discussion?
just glad to have Colleen on board.
Thank you.
I'm curious, how many of those cards do we get back on the river?
I'd say about 200.
Which actually isn't bad considering we sent out 21,000.
Those are all
Yeah.
cross-checked now, you're gonna find out.
Yeah, we have to go through
Yeah.
all of those. The voters that, I think we have to mark them inactive. So if they came in to vote, they would have to sign.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, I think that's the way that
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah, but we've been very happy with the mail that's coming back. It's not a lot, and that's what we wanted.
Right, that mean, yeah, because we just did NCOAs within the last year. I mean, we've done a lot of cleaning up of our rolls in the last 18 months, so hopefully we don't get a ton. I mean,
Well
we
done.
do have a lot of rental property in West Warwick, so you do have a lot of
Yeah.
moving around.
Yep. Well,
Nancy Parenti. Anything to add on the general discussion? Paul?
Nothing to add.
All right, having passed through our regular order of business, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
I'll move that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, so voted unanimously. The meeting stands adjourned at 4:02 PM. Next Wednesday at 10.